Mozambique's azure seas are some of the richest in the Indian Ocean. Where the deep waters of the Mozambique Channel rise up close to the coast, one can find an incredible diversity of marine life. The coral reefs that stretch along the coastline are alive with activity. Numerous islands break the impact of the ocean and provide a refuge to some of the rarest marine animals in Africa. Here, in the Bazaruto Archipelago of Mozambique, in shallow waters sheltered from the open sea, survives a remnant pocket of what may be the last viable population of the East African dugong, a marine mammal that once inspired mariners to weave stories of mermaids. Now, these magnificent animals teeter on the brink of extinction. A movement on the surface. There is no telltale spout of water to indicate the presence of a whale or dolphin. No dorsal fin. This is a dugong. The dugong is protected in Mozambique. It is a flagship species, symbolic of the rich marine biodiversity of Mozambique's coastal waters. Yet, despite its high profile and importance, the dugong is disappearing. An optimistic estimate is that around 100 animals are left in the archipelago, and it is debatable whether this is enough to secure the survival of the species. To understand why the dugong is so vulnerable, we must explore first its natural history and how it came to be the unique animal that we see today. In some parts of the world, the dugong is sacred, worshipped as a spiritual being. The Australian Aborigines forged a deep allegiance with the dugong, telling dreamtime stories of dugong riders that travelled on animals that once were men themselves. Fishermen in Tanzania tell a story of a spirit dugong that swims in the open seas. And unless we halt their extinction, dugongs may become just that, ghosts, a memory in the water. From its emergence as a separate life form some 55 million years ago, the species has followed an evolutionary path that has ultimately led to the precarious position in which it exists today. The dugong survives on a diet solely comprised of seagrasses, from which it takes all its nutrients. Like the elephants, with which it may have a common ancestor, it has to consume vast quantities of vegetation, seagrass, that is particularly low in nutrients. It is easy to see why dugongs have been called sea cows. The bristles on the snout are used for finding the grasses. The lips and muzzle are used for digging out the roots and tubers. The dugong occupies a specific ecological niche. Every day, the dugong eats many kilograms of seagrass to sustain its large bulk. A dugong can weigh up to 300 kilograms and eats up to 1/5 of its body weight each day. Through digestion, these grasses are converted to nutrients that benefit numerous marine species like crabs, shrimps, and the grasses themselves. Most importantly for the coastal population, they benefit the fish. Herds of dugongs were once found all the way down the coast of East Africa, from Somalia to southern Mozambique. By the early 1970s, dugongs were mainly confined to isolated populations in Mozambique. Historically, dugongs are found in the Indo-Pacific Ocean region, through the Middle East and over to Asia and Australia. Today, the population in northeastern Australia is the only dugong population free of the risk of extinction. The loss of remnant populations will seriously diminish the genetic viability of the species as a whole. Those in Bazaruto may be the largest single population in East Africa, and indeed the only viable breeding herd. However, pressures on their aquatic realm are increasing as the coastal population struggles over limited resources. Dugong lifespan is long. They are very slow to mature, living up to 60 years in age. Their reproductive rate is low, with only a few calves born in a lifetime. This contributes to the fragile balance that exists within a breeding herd. Dugongs do have natural predators in the form of sharks, but pressure largely comes from mankind, primarily from fishing nets used in seagrass habitats. There are also other forces at play. Fishing is not the only culprit. The tourism industry may not be blameless. Sewage discharge, sedimentation, and pollution all affect seagrass habitats. Noise pollution from increased boat traffic is also implicated in driving the dugongs away from the few safe areas that exist. A more ominous threat may shape the future survival of the dugongs of Bazaruto. The discovery of reserves of valuable fossil fuels has opened up some of the most pristine areas of the coastline to seismic prospecting with blasts of compressed air. Sound travels far underwater and can negatively impact on marine mammals. Have we already committed the dugongs of East Africa to the list of animals that once made our planet their home? Or can we promise more concrete solutions to halt their decline? It is almost impossible to effectively police the whole of the Bazaruto Archipelago. Currently, the fate of the species is in the hands of the few under-resourced rangers, passionate conservationists, and organisations that can at best only protect a part of its range. Poverty and lack of knowledge both play a part in an emerging problem that affects wildlife throughout the developing world. Conservation of endangered species is often difficult, and marine mammals are especially vulnerable to environmental change. Even though in theory, policy can influence the conservation of species, change must come from the ground up, with the emphasis put on ownership of natural resources by local communities. The commodification of wildlife can help, but will it be enough to ensure the survival of the dugong? Now is the time to act, and act fast. Protection must be scaled up, along with increased community participation, if there is to be a chance of safeguarding the archipelago's natural riches. The past 200 years has seen the extinction of some of the most unique animals ever to live on our planet. But we have also been able to bring some of them back from the brink. The decisions that are made today will impact not only on the people of Mozambique, but on the entire planet, now and in the future. As tourism in the region grows, it must play a proactive part in conservation. Mozambique's coastal communities hold the key to the survival of the Dugong, but only by working in partnership with all the stakeholders in government, tourism, and conservation. With this mutual responsibility, we may still share the waters with Africa's last mermaids for many years to come.